Hi there, welcome back to the Rare Book Views channel where I talk about how much I love reading and books and libraries and collecting and sifting through the books and book hunting. If you are interested in any of those things, please let me know. I love to hear from like-minded people who are also buying more books than they could ever read in a lifetime. Today, I'm going to talk to you about my next to-be-read shelf. This has been really fun. This is the third time that I've done this. I have a tendency to acquire a lot of books that I optimistically plan to read, and then I kind of feel bad about not reading them in order or ending up with a lot of them taunting me from the piles of books I haven't read yet. So what I've been doing is setting aside, making up a shelf of a mix of fiction, nonfiction, easy reads, challenging reads, and then just concentrating on those so that I don't feel bad about buying new books, because those are just for someday. These are the ones I'm reading right now. And that means they aren't languishing as long. They're some of the more challenging books or books I didn't pick up myself, things like that, they get read a little bit faster. So this is the preview. This is an interesting one. I'm excited about this. Okay, I have a book here, Running with the Mind of Meditation. I'm a runner and a reader, so I really love books about running. And this one looks really good. I've seen it on sort of lists of books for runners. So I got it at a bargain price, and I just haven't gotten around to reading it. So that one I think is going to be good. Non-fiction-y, I guess. I have a few Agatha Christie vintage books that I have picked up I've discovered Agatha Christie. I would love to be her friend, so I've started reading them. This is one that I picked up by the pricking of my thumbs. This is slightly random. I was thinking I might try to read them in order. Someone said maybe no. This is a random one for the fiction shelf. So my wonderful husband bought me two books by this author that are Choose Your Own Adventure, Shakespeare. And I am embarrassed to even begin to think how long I've had them. And I read the first one, I read Romeo and Juliet, so now I'm gonna read the other one. And I feel good about that, but that is on the slightly challenging. It's just not quite it's out of my normal, which is good for all of us. We should all read books that are out of our normal realm. This is wonderful. This is an Gorey. I love Gorey. He's so weird. His illustrations are great. The stuff he illustrates is usually really good. And this is kind of all illustrations, but I've just never sat down and gone through it. So that should be fun and easy. This is really cool. This is a book illustrated by Maurice Sendak. I love Sendak, who doesn't? And I picked this up, I'm sure, at a bargain price. I paid $3. And let's see, it's a tale told by Wilhelm Grimm, translated by Ralph Manheim. It is a first edition, 1988, and it is in perfect condition. And this is just one of those things that I'm sure it's going to be fun to sit down and look at it and look at the illustrations. So that should be good. Oh, this is cool. Okay. I went to a Civil War site on a historic tour not that long ago. And whenever I do stuff like that, I think I should read books about this. And I listened to a podcast. I will try to remember to put the description or a link in the notes. I listened to a great podcast called History Chicks, and sometimes they talk about various women in figures in history, and they do really good research. And they talked about two women who were spies during the Civil War, one for the North, one for the South, and they did a fantastic job. They always do really good research and give suggestions and sort of bibliography. And one of the podcasters recommended this book as a fictional retelling of the tale. And I saw this right after I listened to the podcast. It was $3. It's hardcover. It's in perfect condition. And I love history, but I have a little bit of a mental block against battle scenes. So this is going to go in the challenging pile. But it is fiction. So I'm hoping that will be really good. This is kind of silly. Confessions of a Jane Austen Addict. It is possible that I saw an episode of a show based on this book, maybe. This looks like really light reading. I love Jane Austen. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love Jane Austen? So this is sort of fan fiction-y Jane Austen, and I'm super psyched about that. Okay. This is the headliner. This is a beautiful copy of Don Quixote, and I have wanted to read this. I enjoy classics. I enjoy classics that are easy reads. I always find it sort of pleasant surprise when you read something that is in the canon or is considered a classic and it's actually an easy read. Sometimes when we read those books, we find the language is a little bit of a challenge. I have wanted to read this, and when I read classics, either the easygoing or the make your mind stronger ones, I really like to have a special copy, and I've been looking for something that's going to get me excited to read this kind of long book, but I've just never read it. So I found this one. It is vintage, and it was only $10. It's beautiful. It has illustrations. It has no date on the copyright, but there's an inscription that says 1939, and it seems like it might be a 1920s book. It's got this kind of illustration. Great stuff. But that means the text font is this. And then sometimes you get these beautiful illustrations along the way. Amazing, right? But this book is 710 pages. So we're gonna put that in the challenging pile. I am excited about it, but I'm slightly daunted by what I've done to myself. I really want to read it, but if anyone has any suggestions, let me know. This feels like I won the lottery. This author, Louise Erdrich, she got the Pulitzer Prize for The Night Watchman, which I also read, which I also got from a charity bookshop for a couple dollars. And the only reason I didn't keep it was because it wasn't in perfect condition, and I was afraid it was gonna get in worse condition through handling. So I passed it on to someone who wanted it. This one, I saw a review of this, forgot what the book was about, but left it on my list. Saw it, it was $6, and that is more than I usually pay for a secondhand book. But at the store where I was shopping at the time, if you spend a certain amount of money, you get 10% off, and it worked out that if I was right on the border, so if I bought this book, it ended up the difference between not buying it and buying it was $1. So in my mind, this book cost $1. And she's amazing, so I can't wait to read this. I think it's gonna be really good. I don't think it's gonna be super hard to read. This is amazing. I love Ruth Ware. I am on the waiting list for her newest book, and I thought I had read all of her other books. They are suspense. They are so great. They are creative. They get you on the edge of your seat. I love a good where you want to sort of gobble up the book, and she's a great writer for that. I didn't know about this one, so I just ran across it. It was, I think I paid $2 for this, and I stand corrected, I paid $3, and I can't wait. I'm sure that's gonna be a page turner. This one has been on my list for so long. This is called Furious Hours, Murder, Fraud, and the Last Trial of Harper Lee. And this is a book about how Harper Lee, God bless her, later in her life had one of these people, legal troubles with people trying to manipulate her finances. And there was a woman who got to know her, I think, is what I remember this book being about. This has been on my list for a really long time, and I found it. It is in like new condition, and it was $2. So it's nonfiction. I'll put it in the more challenging thing, but I think it's going to be a really fast read. Because of my Civil War bent, I think this side of things might be less battle related, so it might be an easier read. And I asked the tour guide when I went on this Civil War thing about what would be good books, and this was not on his list, but I noticed it is published by Barnes & Noble, and I think some of the Barnes & Noble press ones go straight to their bargain front of the store area. I worked at Barnes & Noble, so I have an idea of where this came from. So I wonder if maybe it's just lesser known, but I think it is going to be pretty good. Falling Down book. This one was recommended by the tour guide, and I found it at the used bookstore. So I have 3 books about the Civil War, and as I said, not great about battles. So I think that is going to maybe make me smarter. That's going to be good for me. And then this book, The Island of Lost Maps, I love this book, and I think I loaned it to someone or gave it to someone, so I didn't have a copy. This is in beautiful condition and is the hardback and cost $4, so I'm going to reread it. how often I've been doing so great bargain shopping, and I have so many books on the to be read shelf that I don't often reread, but I know that one's going to be an easy book. I will enjoy it. It is about books. It's going to be really good. It's quite the pile, honestly, and looking at them now, way more books in the make me smarter pile than the easy read pile. So it'll be very interesting to see how long will it take me to read these books, because you can never really tell. I don't like to give myself deadlines. Life gets in the way sometimes. And I'm not really sure how to tackle Don Quixote. I think I might do the read it, have two books going at the same time, because I think if I was only reading Don Quixote, it would be rough going. So I think I will read something from the less challenging pile while I'm reading Don Quixote, and I might start out that way, and we'll see how far that gets me. But I'm wondering if I'm going to read, I have a feeling it will be The Last Man Standing. I think I will probably finish the other books first. So I can't wait to get started. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know what you think. Have you read any of these books? Should I read them first? Do you have any recommendations about how to organize the to be read shelf? And I want to thank everybody who has sent me kind comments or told me what they were reading. This is so much fun for me. I had no idea. A friend of mine encouraged me to start a channel because I tell her about my book collecting, and I just love that nobody really says anything negative. People are just really kind and encouraging. So thank you for everybody who is sending some positivity my way. It does make things really fun, and I love hearing what people are reading. So thanks again. Happy reading.